from the Signature Bank Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
All right, good Monday morning. Amy Jacobson here. John Anthony in for Dan Proft.
Hey.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's always
Those first 2 hours
fun.
flew by.
Flies by when you're having fun. All right, so President, I was going to call him President Biden, President Trump, former President Trump. Did you watch the town hall with him and Laura
I did.
Ingraham?
I thought that was one of the best town halls he's done in a very long time.
Yeah, he's maturing.
He was fresh.
And I love what he said about how we'll know he succeeded.
But the question about score settling, a lot of women, a lot of women voters, they don't like the name calling, they don't like the score settling. They love your policies, and they just want Trump's policies, maybe not so much of the other stuff. So I think that's what the question, if you don't mind my asking, I think that's what she's getting at.
But also you want to say, how do you get together? We're going to get together through success. When the country was at a level that we had the best employment numbers in history, everything was good. And this country was coming together. Then we got hit with COVID, but this country came together. I don't care about the revenge thing. I know they usually use the word revenge. Will there be revenge? My revenge will be success.
That was a wonderful moment, don't you think?
It was.
Yes.
I agree. I mean, he sounds. I don't know. I don't know if he's taken to the coaching that they're giving him, but I mean. Remember, Trump would have run off and said all type of stuff.
Oh, remember when he would rip on Carly Fiorelli, and then he'd change, different people. Talk about Megyn Kelly and blood coming out of her eyes, and who else knows where else. I mean, all that stuff put behind us.
Yeah.
And think of the policies. But the person is getting better. With more on that, let's welcome back to the program Salena Zito, our good friend, national political reporter, and author of The Great Revolt: Inside the Populist Coalition, Reshaping American Politics. And you can check out all of her articles at SalenaZito.com. Good morning, Salena. How are you?
Good morning. I'm swell. How are you guys?
Good. So you wrote a number of articles, but I wanted to start with Biden's Friday afternoon visit to East Palestine, Ohio. And was anything accomplished by that?
Oh, no. I don't think it was a very good moment for Biden to come to East Palestine. He was definitely a year too late, 6 months late, 3 months late. He didn't declare a state of emergency, so that doesn't free up funds. And he railed against the railroad instead of, look, these people here, my great-grandfather was born and raised in East Palestine. These people want aspiration. They want to be part of something bigger than themselves. They also want answers. They were hopeful for funding for baseline testing that was offered by Senator J.D. Vance to the White House, baseline testing of their health so their health can be monitored over the next few years so that you don't get to a Camp Lejeune type settlement 40 years later. And they received none of that. So it was a hollow visit.
And then here's a reaction from an East Palestine resident.
He has not helped us. He's too little too late.
Do you want the federal government to step in?
At this point, I'll take anything. We're crying for somebody to help us, to either get us out of the situation or go back and clean this properly.
I mean, how many people have moved out of that town? Are there still a sizable population?
I mean, there's still a sizable population. You can't move out because you can't sell your house.
Oh.
So they're really kind of trapped there. There are some people that just have left, and that's not good either. And I think it's important to point out East Palestine before the train derailment was not one of those down on their knees Appalachian towns. This is a thriving village. They have good work jobs available all around the village. The main street is prosperous. There wasn't boarded up buildings. The houses are neat and tidy. So it's not as though it was a scar upon a scar. This was a fresh wound to people who have, for generations, been very proud to be from East Palestine.
And you said your great-grandfather's from there?
He was. He even ran for state representative, got, as a free silver during the 1896 presidential election with William Jennings Bryan and William McKinley.
Wow.
He got 12 votes. So
Wait, how many votes did he get?
12.
Oh, well, it's better than one or two, right?
Right. He went on to be the mayor of a neighboring town for 50 years. So
And what-
I think he did all right.
Yeah, he did. What was his line of work? Or was he just then became a professional politician?
He was a coal miner.
Oh,
Wow.
good. That dying industry. Remember when Obama was going to make them all, put them in the
Yeah.
tech industry or coding?
Yes.
How did that work out, Salena?
Not so much.
Yeah, not so much.
You
All
ever
right,
been in a coal mine?
Have I been in a coal mine? No, I have
It's
not.
it's spooky and scary. It sounds like the bowels of hell are.
Have you been in a coal mine?
Twice.
In
Yeah,
Illinois?
in Illinois.
I
It's
know
scary.
people forget that we have coal
Yeah.
miners
Down south, but
down south in Illinois. So
Yeah.
what's it like down there, Salena?
Oh, well, it depends on what kind of mine you go down.
yeah.
I mean, if you go down an elevator, like 1,500 feet,
Oh,
and you go into the mine, it's all the walls are painted white.
Mhm.
And so
Right.
it's not that sort of feeling of doom and dark. And you take it's called a man car.
Mhm.
I drove on a man car for almost 8 miles across 3 states underground. Now you climb into a coal mine or you walk into a coal mine. That's very different.
Yeah.
And that's you have to have a certain fortitude to do something like that.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was in there, I just kept thinking, what if these walls just collapse right now? That's all I
That's
kept.
kept thinking.
That's all I kept thinking. But what's happening in Pennsylvania? You wrote an article, "Middle America's Dying Hard," and we're talking about coal miners. What's happening with what's happening with the union people over there and Joe Biden, because he's losing a lot of them, right?
Yeah, so Biden is the Middle America Dying Hard story was a story about Weirton, West Virginia, which is right. If you know anything about the geography, it's like right there with Pennsylvania and Ohio. Like
Yes.
people that worked at the plant lived in all 3 states, and at one time it employed 15,000. The last 900 people lost their job last week.
Wow.
It all had to do with a trade decision made in D.C. that did not level the playing field between China and Mexico and American steel products. And they cost more to make here because of the labor cost, but also because of regulation. We have a lot of stringent regulations, and so they just shut it down, and that's the end. And I think that people need to understand when a big business like that closes, it's not just 900 people that lost their jobs. It's the people that make the widgets for
That's
the
true.
steel mill. It's
Oh.
the people that supply the uniforms and the tools. It's also the barber shops and beauty salons and mom and pop shops and motels and hotels and everything, the school districts.
Yep.
So these kinds of things really create a shift in politics away from who the voter believes is at fault for ignoring them.
So true.
Well, now you also wrote an article at selenazito.com about a man named Mark Rayfield, who's a Northeast Pennsylvania native. Tell us about him.
So I wrote a story entitled Biden Cannot Afford to Lose One Vote in Pennsylvania, and it's very true. He narrowly won this state by I think it was 60,000 votes. It's somewhere around there. And so he's already having problems with the black vote. He earned 92% of the black vote in 2020. In the latest polling done in Pennsylvania, it's down to 59%. That in it on itself is enough to lose the state, let alone the problems he's having with the far left. And then there's voters that I don't think he saw coming that are leaving, and that's the Mark Rayfields of the world. This is a suburban Philadelphia, highly successful Democrat all of his life, who's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm not going to vote for Trump, but I'm also not voting for Biden.
So are they just going to sit this election out?
Well, they might go third party. Of course, if you read the
Kennedy.
story, Mark is really hopeful that there's some Hollywood dramatic moment at the convention and that someone else is picked. And that might happen. We certainly are in a crazy year.
Yeah. Robert Kennedy.
We've been in a crazy year since 2012.
Is Robert Kennedy on the ballot in Pennsylvania?
I believe he will be, yes.
Oh.
So
There's
but
a
this
spoiler.
guy, Mark Rayfield, he voted for Biden in 2020. He voted for John Fetterman, which I just, after seeing that debate with Dr. Oz, that still befuddles me that people voted for him. But 1 million people had cast their vote before that debate happened with early voting.
Right, correct.
So
Yes,
is anybody
correct.
making sure that the integrity of the election there in Pennsylvania is going to be sound?
The problem with the election here in Pennsylvania wasn't in 2020. It wasn't the integrity. That was pretty sound.
Okay.
The problem was they kept changing the rules during COVID and extending mail-in voting. So that created an untrustworthiness to the system by a lot of voters. And so that is what they're locking down now, so that there's no changes made. Those kinds of things cause people not to trust the system. Yeah. And they've been working hard in the legislature to make sure that that is not the case ever again.
And Salena, my good friend is he's a former state rep, Mike Piscaric. I don't know if you know who he is.
Yep.
I had a conversation with him about 2 weeks ago. I mean, he has some bombshell information that I believe he wants to talk about how we can go and release basically what she's saying, how they changed the rules, and Republicans did absolutely nothing
In Pennsylvania?
There's no backbone whatsoever, and he would know. He was there serving in the legislative body as a state rep.
Well, give me some details.
Yeah, well, we can't just yet, but he and I are going to go live and talk about it coming up.
Wow, that'll be not this
Not
Saturday,
this week, not
but
this
the
Saturday.
following
No,
Saturday.
correct.
We have
It's
to
gonna
give
be a
Salena
bombshell.
Zito a heads up so
That's
she
right.
can listen to the conversation. But here in Illinois, Salena, so in Illinois, they count ballots, mail-in ballots 2 weeks after Election Day.
2 weeks, a month.
A month?
No, I'm
No,
just kidding.
it's
I'm
2
kidding.
weeks. I mean, that's our state law. Is there anything crazy like that in Pennsylvania or Ohio?
I forget how it is extended. That was part of the problem. See, the problem for the state legislature in Pennsylvania was not that they didn't have the power. They did. They were the majority. However, there was a Democratic governor, there was a Democratic attorney general, and there also was a Democratic state Supreme Court, which cut off absolutely everything they tried to do to stop it.
Yeah.
So that was the big challenge in 2020.
Yeah.
All right. Salena Zito. You can read all of her columns at selenazito.com, and the ones that we were mentioning, Middle America is Dying. She wrote for the WashingtonExaminer.com. Salena, thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too. There's birds chirping in the background. I can hear it. Sounds so tranquil. And Salena joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for